Hi, my name is Erin. I'm a 25-year-old living in Washington, D.C. with my cat, Rhea. Welcome to our 420 square foot studio apartment. So when you walk in the front door, you immediately see the hallway on your left, the entryway closet on the right, and the kitchen straight ahead. I really like the layout of this apartment. Even though it's a studio, the kitchen is completely separate from the rest of the living space. I was lucky enough to have this in my last studio apartment as well. I was previously living in a 250 square foot studio, which felt like a shoebox, and when I saw this listing on Zillow, it originally said the apartment was 530 square feet. When I walked in, it was so much bigger than my previous space that I didn't think to check the measurements super carefully, but it turns out this space is much closer to 420 square feet. I am still very happy with it though. It is still so much bigger than my last place, and I definitely don't take that for granted. I am very, very lucky to have the space that I have at the price point that I have it. Part of that extra square footage is there is so much more closet space, like the entryway closet right by the front door. I have everything in here from my shoes, my bigger winter jackets, paint supplies, my vacuum, and my Swiffer. And then I also have Rhea's litter box in this front entryway closet, and I keep the door propped open at all times just so she can go in there and have some peace and quiet when she's doing her thing. I adopted my cat Rhea about 5 months ago, and it's funny because I actually grew up as a dog person, but when I moved to DC, some of my friends had cats and I just grew to love them, and I'm so lucky to have such a wonderful little animal in my space. I love her so much. As you enter the kitchen, you'll notice that there are quite a few accents of green. We've got the green reading nook first off. I think previously this nook was used for dining, but there's already a dining table built into the cabinetry of this kitchen, so I felt like it wouldn't be the best use of space and I would much rather turn it into a little library. So that's exactly what I did. I got some dark green paint and then this really lovely floral wallpaper. And then of course these floating invisible bookshelves from Umbra. Just to clarify, I am allowed to paint and wallpaper and drill holes in this unit, and I'm really happy that I got to customize this space in exactly the way I wanted to. I got the chair and the lamp both on Facebook Marketplace. And then also in this reading nook, I have Rhea's food and water bowls and her scratching board as well. I also have a couple of pieces of art hanging here too. The top piece is a Bananagrams themed art piece that my friends Jack and Juliana made me for my birthday, which was so sweet of them. It's got lots of little inside jokes in it. And then the bottom piece is a print by Khadija Jamila. I've actually been to some of her collaging workshops around the city and she's really lovely. I love supporting her art. The main green accent that I did in the rest of the space is this green backsplash. It's peel and stick, so also renter friendly. It's not my best install ever, but I think it does the job pretty well. And the rest of the walls I just kept a normal renter beige because I really didn't feel like doing a whole big paint job here. Since there is so much cabinetry, I actually store quite a lot of non-kitchen related items in this space. For example, in one of the drawers I have like all of my home improvement items. In another drawer I have COVID tests and like just absolutely random shit. But that's the benefit of having all of this closed storage, is it just goes behind the door and you don't see anything. Some of the decor that you will see though are some of the knickknacks that I've added to this table area. And on this side I've also got a mini air cooler, which I installed because it gets really hot in this kitchen during the summertime, especially if I'm just trying to use the oven and cook some vegetables. Like, my attempts to be healthy are very much diminished by the fact that it gets so hot in this kitchen. So an air cooler was definitely a must. So this hallway, I remember being so excited about when I first toured this unit because, again, like I mentioned, I lived in like a shoebox of an apartment before this, and I was just amazed, like, wow, this has enough space to have a hallway? That's incredible. I've decorated the hallway area with a few prints. Over here, I have a concert poster from The Dip, who is a Seattle-based jazz band that I really like. They've toured in DC a couple times, and I've always really loved both their sound, but also like their graphic designer. Whoever they hire does an amazing job, and I just loved this poster. And this print was a gift from my friend Katie for Christmas. She emulated a style of a local DC artist who does prints like this for neighborhoods around the city, and this is one of the first neighborhoods that I ever lived in this city, so it's really nostalgic to me and was a very, very thoughtful gift. I actually did a whole apartment updates video recently where I added more prints to the gallery wall, but in the end I just decided to keep these two where they were. I think changing my mind, putting things up, taking things down, it's always part of my design process as like an amateur, so maybe I'll add more in the future, we'll see, but for now I like where it is. On the opposite side of the hallway we have these hooks which are really useful for hanging bags and jackets. I also have this white storage cabinet from Wayfair and a small basket on top where I drop my keys and my mail. This is also a new addition. Above that I have a drawing that was made by my friend Grace from college. I met Grace when I was living in the co-ops. Her and I and all of our co-op friends went on a picnic one day. We took a few selfies, and for my birthday that year, Grace ended up drawing the selfie for me, which is really, really beautiful. Again, I have very, very thoughtful friends who are super artistic. I did my undergrad in California, and I actually grew up there as well, and you'll notice lots of touches of California in different spots around my apartment, including this huge painting of Morro Bay that I have hanging in my walk-in closet. This painting is actually a custom paint by numbers. I've talked about how to do this in previous videos, but basically you can submit a photo that you've taken to a paint by numbers company and they'll turn it into a canvas for you. So I did this for one of my favorite photos I've ever taken, which is of Morro Rock in California. Plus, it perfectly complements my blue dresser, which is a piece that I had in my last place. And I've also hung up a lot of art pieces with touches of blue in here, just so it's like one cohesive vibe. I'm very, very lucky to have this amount of storage space all for my clothing, and to even have a separate walk-in closet is something I couldn't have even dreamed of like a year ago. So now we are in the main living space, which includes my living room, my small home office, and my sleeping space. We're gonna start in the living room. I got this black chair from Facebook Marketplace. The rug is from Rugs USA or some generic website like that. The coffee table is also from Facebook Marketplace, and the green couch is from Wayfair. And it's actually a futon that you can fold down into a twin bed, which is really useful when I have guests staying here for the weekend. On the walls, I have an art print that I got from Femme Fatale DC, which is an art collective in the city that supports female and non-binary creative entrepreneurs. And I also have these two prints from Etsy. Another touch of California here. The first one is of Ventura County, where I grew up, and then the second is of the Bay Area, which is again where I went to school. The other pieces of decor that really make a statement, I think, in the living space are behind me and in front of me. It's these big trailing pothos that I've had for a while. I have them hung on these shelves really high up so that my cat Rhea can't get to them. She's not very curious in terms of eating plants anyway, but most of the plants in my apartment are pet safe just in case. And any plants that I had from my last place that I still wanted to keep that were toxic, I've got them in the bathroom, and the bathroom door is closed at all times, so she can't get in there. Moving on to my desk now. Well, actually first, can we talk about this archway? Like, this was another feature that when I walked into the apartment for the first time, I was just blown away by. I love this feature. Right next to the archway, I have this IKEA Alex unit, which I just use to store office supplies, my tech equipment, a bunch of random things. And then we have one of my favorite pieces of furniture that I've ever had in my entire life, which is this desk from Wayfair. I love it because it's huge. I've got so much space to spread out. I work from home 2 days a week, so it's really helpful to have that much space at a work from home setting. But also when I do art projects like painting or embroidery, I also like to spread out in those moments too, and having this much square footage to just be creative is something that I really, really like about this desk. I also like that the desk came with some shelves on the side, so I've got more cat-safe plants here, some decor that I got from Facebook Marketplace. And on each side of the desk, as you can see behind me, I have decor on the walls, kind of framing this little vignette. On the left, I have a plant propagation station, and then on the right, I've got this shelf with a lamp, a framed postcard from my friend Ella, another propagation station, and then underneath the shelf I have a print from an artist who I follow on Instagram. Overall, I really like how those two sections really frame this whole space. I kind of used the same framing technique that I used in the desk area in my sleeping area as well, with some of this decor over here. Going from top to bottom, the first piece that I have is this lino print that my friend Yael made me. Below that I have another propagation station, and then below that I have another piece of decor that I got vintage on Facebook Marketplace. And of course, resting on the floor is this nightstand. On that side of the bed by the windows, I have a plant stand with a spider plant on it. I've got a couple of art pieces framing my AC unit to make it look a little bit more presentable. One of them is again a paint by numbers of a photo that I had taken years ago. This one was in Portland, Oregon. The other painting is one that I got at the Georgetown Flea Market. Actually, my dad got it for me when he was visiting earlier this spring. I know. Okay, I'll let you do your thing. Last but not least, we have the bathroom, which if you can't tell from this camera angle, it's a pretty small space in here. The decor theme for the bathroom specifically was using blues, yellows, and greens. I've got a plant in a yellow pot. I've got a print with some yellow, blue, and green in it. Above that decor, I've got a storage cabinet that has all of my extra medicine and first aid supplies, extra makeup that I don't use on a regular basis. Next to the toilet, I have this really great ledge, which I use to store other stuff like toilet paper, tissues. I have a small wooden box that holds like some of my beauty tools. On top of my sink, I've installed this small shelf which houses my go-to skincare products and then also my daily medication. And in the medicine cabinet, we've got more storage too for even more skincare products and like my toothbrush, toothpaste, hair ties. Next to the medicine cabinet, I have a really lovely print again in the blue, green, and yellow color scheme. Even though it's a kitchen dining room themed print, I still think it really ties this bathroom space together really well. Alright, I think that's it for this tour. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Thanks so much for watching, and if you'd like to stick around, I usually make vlogs about my 20-something life in DC, so feel free to subscribe, like the video, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Kick it to me, I can make you better, boy. You kick it to me, I can make you better, father. Oh, you kick it to me, I can make you better, fire. Kick it to me, I